let's take a look at the Samsung S90C and the Samsung S95C QD-OLED. Both of these TVs are using quantum dot OLED technology, and this is a new technology that was implemented in consumer televisions last year, starting with the S95B from Samsung. You also seen it in the A95K from Sony as well, but those were the only two OLED TVs that had this technology in it last year. However, this year for Samsung, it's a little bit different as they have two different models to choose from, which are the two models we're looking at today. And I'll be sure to break down the core differences between these two models, as well as help you guys out with some buying advice in regards to these two TVs later on in the video if you need that. Now, what separates these two models is a few different factors, and one of the biggest things you might see a difference in terms of picture quality and just brightness overall could be the panel technology. Now, the S90C that I'm taking a look at today has the first generation panel, and the S95C that I'm using today has the second generation panel. Now, the S90C could have the second generation panel if you buy it today. The reason for this is because they stopped making the first generation QD-OLED panels, but there are some first generation panels still left over that were used in the S90Cs. So you're going to have a little bit of a panel lottery. I have confirmed information that there is S90Cs with the second generation panel out there, and I have seen users also give me feedback that they have a second generation S90C as well. So the likelihood of you getting a S90C with a second generation panel is higher than it would have been a few months ago. Now, one important thing to mention is that the 77-inch size is only going to be the generation 2 panel no matter what, because there is no generation 1 77-inch QD-OLED. I know a lot of you guys are probably wondering what the difference is between the first generation and second generation panel. Well, I got a tour of the second generation and the first generation panel over at CES last year, and I have to say that when I learned about the differences, I thought it was going to be a bigger deal overall, and you can see that video if you need to. But in general, what you're seeing is going to be higher brightness overall, a little bit better colors, and it's going to be a more efficient panel. These are all great things, but when you put them side by side, you really have to nitpick some differences in order to tell the difference. So at first glance, they might look very similar, but when you look closer, the S95C is definitely the more capable TV in both brightness and color, but you don't know if that's going to be because of the software or the way that the TV was set up. While I don't actually know this, it seems like the S90C is being held back in some sort of way by software, by design. And I'm not really sure if this is because they're using both first generation and second generation. It's going to be a panel lottery, so they just set it up that way. Or maybe the S90C is going to be set up differently when it is using a second generation panel. I have heard people say that the S90C with the second generation panel has different service menu settings than the ones with the first generation panel, so there could be some truth to that. If you take a look at the waveform that I'm showing you on the screen here, you can see that the S95C does get brighter than the S90C. And this is something that I noticed quite often. I think that in general, the S90C performs and behaves very similar to the first generation panel that's being used in the S95B. So I don't know if they have a similar software structure, but I was lucky enough to see the S95B, the S95C, and the S90C all next to each other. So this is something that I thought was pretty interesting. The S95B and the S90C that I compared were so similar that I could barely tell the difference. But you could tell that the S95C was brighter than both once you threw that into the mix. Now, before we go on to the rest of the differences, I just want to remind you guys that this is not a sponsored video and none of these TVs were supplied to me. If you want to show your support so I can keep getting awesome TVs in to compare, please consider using my affiliate links when you are buying your next TV. This is one of the best ways to help out the channel, and I can't thank you guys enough for doing that. And if you're not in the market to buy a TV, you can always just hit the like button if you are enjoying this content. That helps spread the video out to more people. Thank you guys so much. Now, another big thing that separates the S90C from the S95C is the way that the inputs are designed on the S90C and the S95C. So with the S95C, you get what they call a one connect box, where your inputs are going to be on a separate box altogether, where the S90C is a traditional TV layout like you're used to. There are both pros and cons to the One Connect box. The biggest pro to the One Connect box is the fact that you can have your ports readily available to you at any time without going into the back of your TV. And this could be very useful for somebody who may be mounting their TV. Now, one of the biggest cons, in my opinion, is the fact that the cable that they give you is not very long and it is still pretty thick. And so mounting your TV still does present some sort of issues in terms of hiding the cable or having a cable long enough to be wanting to use it to mount the TV. Now, that's just personal experience, and the One Connect box that they used in the past was a lot better. One of the reasons why you might want to reconsider getting an S95C over an S90C is if you are a gamer, as they do look very similar in picture quality, but you may very well end up having less headaches with the S90C in regards to the way that the input connections are on the One Connect box. I say this because there are a lot of dropouts reported on the S95C and the One Connect box. Unfortunately, this is not a new thing with One Connect box. That's just something you have to be aware of when you are getting a TV with the One Connect box like the S95C. You may experience some signal dropouts. I'm not sure what the reasoning for this is, whether it's a heating issue or it's an internal design issue. Another thing you'll notice is the price difference with the S90C and the S95C. We're talking a big difference, up to $1,000 or more depending on the size that you're getting. And the question is, why are you paying that much more for the S95C over the S90C? And the answer to that is premium versus non-premium. So the S95C is treated as the more premium TV. It has the One Connect box, which is designed to be one of the more premium features, and it also has an array of different speakers on the actual back of the TV. Now, whether or not the sound is better than the S90C is something that I could probably debate with a lot of different people, as I bet there is people that prefer the S90C's sound to the S95C's sound. The S95C has really clear dialogue and it sounds great for that type of thing. But when you want some sort of bass involved, you just don't get that with the S95C, where I get a more balanced approach with the S90C, and I actually like the sound on the S90C better than the S95C, despite it being less capable in terms of the specs. There's just something about the S95C speaker system that seems a bit lacking. Now, Samsung will want you to think that the S95C has the premium sound, and maybe by design it is like this, because the whole TV itself is featuring a more premium design than the S90C. You're having just a better build quality all around with the S95C, where with the S90C, you're getting a very similar build quality to the S95B. And I think that when you're looking at the stand design, you're also disappointed with the way that the S90C stand is, because it does feel like the cheaper TV stand of the two. And I've seen the same TV stand being used with some budget Samsung TVs, so I truly think they are cutting some corners to save you a little bit of money here with the S90C, while the S95C just seems like it does have a lot of unnecessary features that a lot of people might not even utilize. And if you don't care about the build quality or the way that the TV is designed, the way that it looks, then I think you'll be okay with the S90C. It doesn't look bad, it just doesn't have that premium feel and the premium look like the S95C does. So you have to ask yourself, does that matter to you that much? Which brings me into the buying advice. Now, you see the picture quality difference in regards to brightness and maybe even color, but is it that big of a deal in regards to the price tag? Will I recommend the S90C more to people than I do the S95C? And the answer is yes. I think that the S90C is going to be a great TV for more people, and the S95C is a premium design and a premium TV for a lot of people, but I don't think it's worth the extra money. And if you want to pay that premium price tag, I would suggest just paying up a little bit more and getting something like the A95L from Sony if you're going for that premium look, especially if maybe you're factoring in TV sound like some people do. Now, when it comes down to the best TV that you can get for gaming, it probably is the S90C if you think about value. There is not really any other TVs that can compete with the S90C in regards to gaming for the price tag. So that's why I really do like the S90C, and I will continue to recommend it to many people, especially in regards to gaming. When it comes down to gaming in the S95C, I honestly think you should skip it. Yes, it is a great TV, and if you've already bought this TV and you have no problems with it, ignore everything I'm saying. But I'm just warning you that there is those dropout issues and that might be something that you don't really want to experience. But I do have to say, this really is only an issue for gamers, as not many people really report this with any other applications that's not regarding gaming. The S95C is a great TV. There's no doubt about it. It's just, I feel like it is in a really weird position now with the A95L coming out, as if you want a premium TV, that one makes a little bit more sense. And if you want a little bit of savings on a QD OLED, then the S90C is that perfect bet. So it is tough because I think there is a place for the S95C, but I don't think it is for gamers. And I think it's more for movie watchers, but those people might even like the G3 a little bit better. So S95C is a great TV, just one that is harder to recommend these days. If you want to see more comparisons like this one, check out one of these videos right here. I think you'll like it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.